Take away every animal on Earth right now. Every insect, every fish, every bird mid-flight, gone in an instant. The planet doesn't go quiet. It goes wrong. Most people assume plants would be fine without animals, maybe even better off. No grazing, no trampling, no bees stinging their way through a garden, just green growing in peace. That's the assumption. Plants first, animals optional. But that's backwards, almost completely backwards. Start with pollination. Researchers who study global agriculture have found that roughly 3 out of every 4 flowering plant species depend on animals to reproduce. Not wind, not water, animals, mostly insects, carrying pollen from one flower to the next like a courier service that never asked to be hired. Remove the animals, and most of the plant kingdom doesn't get to have children. Flowers still bloom, they just bloom into dead ends. So the forests would still stand, for a while, but what happens after that? Go back further. Long before flowers existed at all, the first animals were already rewriting the rules of the planet. Around 575 million years ago, soft-bodied creatures called the Ediacaran biota appear in the fossil record. Simple, strange, barely animal by today's standards. And yet their presence changed the chemistry of the ocean floor. They stirred sediment, they created oxygen pathways, they made the seafloor livable in a way it hadn't been before. Take them out of the timeline, and you're not just removing creatures, you're removing engineers. But why would something so small matter so much? Because life on Earth was never really 2 separate stories, plants over here, animals over there. It was one story told by 2 collaborators. Animals eat plants, yes, but animals also move nutrients. They graze grasslands into existence, keeping trees from choking out entire ecosystems. They bury seeds. They knock down old growth so new growth has somewhere to go. Remove them, and forests don't become paradises, they become stagnant, overcrowded. Eventually, they stop cycling nutrients efficiently at all. And yet, there's a stranger piece to this, one most people never think about. Soil. Healthy soil is not just dirt, it's an ecosystem in miniature. Bacteria, fungi, and yes, animals, earthworms, insects, burrowing creatures, all constantly turning, aerating, digesting, and redistributing organic material. Without them, dead plant matter just piles up. It doesn't decompose efficiently. Nutrients don't return to the ground. And a planet with no animals slowly becomes a planet with no functioning soil. So what happens to the plants that are left? They starve, slowly, quietly. Not from a lack of sunlight, from a lack of the invisible labor animals were doing underground the entire time. But here's the part that reframes everything, the real mechanism underneath all of this. Animals didn't just adapt to a world that plants built, they co-built it. Oxygen levels, soil chemistry, forest structure, even the shape of flowers themselves, all of it evolved in constant negotiation between animal behavior and plant biology. A flower's color exists because a pollinator can see it. A fruit is sweet because something with a digestive system was meant to eat it and carry the seeds somewhere new. Every adaptation is a message sent to a species that no longer exists in this thought experiment. Remove the animals, and you're not left with untouched nature, you're left with a language nobody speaks anymore. Signals with no one to receive them. Sweetness evolved for a mouth that will never bite. Color evolved for an eye that will never look. And that's the quiet horror of the question. It was never plants versus animals. It was never one side surviving the other. It was always a single, tangled system, pretending from a distance to be 2. You are part of that system too, not above it, not separate.